Hello, everybody, and we are here coming with another episode, Living in the Miracle, real stories of everyday miracle. And today I have my guest, Regina Carey. And thank you so much for coming and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Rena, for having me today. And I am a little bit about myself. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm known as the Queen of Action. I love taking action on my own life and teaching other people how to do that. I'm an impact coach and a passion instigator. So I speak, I write, I work with teams and individuals to help them move forward. And I've been doing this work for over 30 years.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
How beautiful. And I just love your personality. I truly enjoy it. And let's just dive into the topics. What does come for you, right? Because I remember when I invited Regina for the show, she was like, Arena, what are we going to be talking about? And I said, oh, it's going to come naturally because I love the spontaneous topics that just come up during the random conversation. And that's exactly what we want to hold today. So, Regina, when I say living in a miracle, what comes for you?
Well, initially, I thought every single day we wake up is an opportunity to recognize the miracle of life. And, when, especially this time of year, when it is so dark, it gets dark early, it stays dark late in the mornings. Many of us can be affected by that, by the lack of light. And when I think of miracle, the first vision I have is like a swirl of illumination, of light, of brightness. And I have lights in my background. I have lights everywhere in my home to keep it bright. And we need to have these conversations more frequently in these times of great darkness. And when the holiday season is coming, there are plenty of examples of everyday miracles, of living in the miracle that is the holiday season. What about for you?
Yeah, it's so beautiful. As you mentioned, like we are getting closer to the end of the year. And I am a person who just celebrates life in general. Like for me, life itself, right? Life itself is the miracle. And every day I wake up with that curiosity. What does this day gonna bring for me? And I'm just, living in that with that affirmation. Miracles come to me every day in every way. And I keep telling this to myself on a daily basis, and they are actually showing up every day in every way. So it's all about the energy, what we are anticipating to have. And since majority of the people are always stressed out, always thinking about the problems, what the to-do list, the deadlines, we have to do this, the responsibility. So it takes away from that miraculous side of our life.
Yes. I'm so glad that you said that because there's such power in language. And that's a whole thing. How are you waking up? What is the first thing that you say to yourself? Like, oh, here we go again. Or oh, I do not want to have this conversation with my boss today. Or the dread. We have to be thinking about what it is that we're saying to ourselves every single moment. It's not just at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. It's what is happening in between. And I love this. Miracles are happening every day in every way. This reminds me, I used to tell some of my clients, when they get into a scarcity mindset, that as they go to their mailbox, begin to say, money comes easily and frequently. Because how many times do we go to our mailbox with our eyes rolling and saying, I'm just going to get a handful of bills or flyers or things that don't mean anything? But if we go to the mailbox and say, money comes easily and frequently, when we begin to do that, little things come, like, well, you might get a rebate check that you didn't realize you were going to get, or or you were in a lawsuit against a company you didn't know about, and here you get a $25 or a wonderful coupon for $10 off, a purchase. Little things like this, these are everyday miracles.
Oh my God, I just love it. And it's so true because, again, it's all connected. Like a lot of people are pondering, like, what are these positive words that we have to say? What exactly do they do? But you know what? Because if we are talking about energy, right? We are all energetic beings, and we are all ruled. The energy is primary energy that just actually make this universe go around. So when we talk about energy and we talk about the frequency, right? We are all vibrating on a different frequency. So to say that
Yes.
our words have the frequency, our thoughts have the frequency. So even when we think of something, not even saying it out, it's already sending the signals to the universe, and universe takes everything what we are thinking, and it just returns back to us exactly what we want, whether we want it or not. And that's why it's more advisable for people to start living consciously rather than
Yes.
unconsciously creating whatever things they have in the life. And I love that example with the mailbox. That is
Mm-hmm.
so, because a lot of people are going to be skeptical and saying, you know what, all I receive the bills because this is my past history, right? And a lot of people are so connected to what happened to them in the past that they continuously reliving that past in the
Mm.
present, and they bring it forward to the future. So I always say,
Yeah.
you know what, you already know how it is, so why don't you try something new? It's not costing you anything. All it is just to start being more curious, start living from that energy of the child and saying, you know what, I wonder. Since I always
Ah.
run and expect the bills, now Regina just told me something different. How about let me just start trying it and see where it's gonna take me? And obviously, you cannot expect next day to run and see the rebate check or refund or unexpected winnings, right? But the more you train your mind to do this thing and focus, what we focus our attention on tends
Mm-hmm.
to expand.
That's
So the
right.
more we focus our attention on good, the more good is going to show up in our life.
Yes. Right? We see the world as we are. We see the world as we are, not as it is.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to see it? This is one of the reasons why I am always listening to how people are speaking about their lives, about their careers, about their loved ones, about their kids, because we often, especially, how many times during the holidays have you heard people say, "Well, I don't want to eat that for, or I don't want to go there. I cannot go to that person's house one more time." Or all these N apostrophe T's. And this is a beautiful example of how if you drop that and shift your language to what you want, what you believe, what you intend, what you desire, then you are opening up the possibilities for these miracles to happen. If you are saying don't, can't, won't, you are shutting out the possibilities. And personally, I believe that the universe listens to the positive. So when you're saying, I don't want to see that person ever again, the universe hears, want to see that person again, and it keeps coming at you. How many times have we worked with people who say to us, I don't know why this keeps happening? I don't know why I keep getting into these relationships or these dead end jobs or this, why I keep gaining the weight back or why I'm always sick. I can tell you because you keep repeating the patterns because you're saying and doing the same things.
That's so beautiful. It's a great moment of awareness because, again, we have to understand what words carry higher frequency, right? And the universe doesn't understand the negative statement. So you're right. Each time we say, I don't want it, the universe here, I want it, right?
Right,
And
right.
that's exactly what we have more of, right?
Yes,
So when we become more intentional with our words and the thoughts, that's when
yes,
we break from our old patterns, and that's when we instill new habits. And this is the work, right? It doesn't happen
yes.
overnight. And you train your brain, and you consciously stopping yourself, and you're noticing like all these things. You know what comes to my mind? Like, I started to be very observant with people around, and it's interesting to watch. Like when I go outside, I intentionally like start looking at the faces of the people, and majority of people, you can guess, like, like very gloomy faces, no smile. And I know exactly what's going on in their heads. It's like you already can know the thoughts that producing this kind of expression in their face. And it's all
Mhm.
about worrying. It's all about, replaying the same scenarios of negativity of different events, the family matters, the work events, and everything else, right? That causing
Mhm.
them to be in that kind of energy. So it's so important when you live in a different, high frequency. It's like you are completely looking at the life from a different prism.
That's right. And when you begin to do that, we talk about vibrational energy, we vibrate higher. And when we're vibrating higher, it's the people who are still down here who are saying, "What are you doing? Why are you acting that way? You don't do that. You never used to do this." And it's like that, it's the story of the crabs, they pull you back down, right? Isn't that right? When they try to crawl out of the bucket, they
Mhm.
pull you down and they want to keep you in the bucket and keep you safe. But when we begin to have that awareness, we do see the world with different eyes. And I would encourage everybody as we go into this weekend, this weekend, instead of thinking, I've got to get to the store or I've got to get to that party or go to that space and just get in your car and go there or get on the bus and go there. Instead of thinking about it as A to B, start to think of it as A to Z. What are all the things in between on the journey there? What can you notice? What can you be aware of in the time where you would normally, like you say, with the faces, scrunched up, get to the place, or they're thinking about the outcome already? Instead, kind of look at your posture. Imagine what your face looks like when you're driving. I encourage people to smile when they drive. Have you ever pulled the mirror down when you're at a stoplight or something and just looked at your resting face in the car? It's
Never.
do it. It's very scary. Because we are not animated, we are not smiling. We're often very scrunched up and worrisome. Look at your face when you drive and instead turn on something funny, your favorite song or playlist or a comedy show, and smile when you drive. It
You
has
know
an
what?
effect. Yeah.
For me, I love to listen to the music, and then I involve like one of my hand that not
Yep.
having the wheel, not holding the wheel. And it's funny because I just assume like people who are coming across, like the other way traffic, they're like thinking
Yes.
she must be out of her mind. But I'm just like in a moment, I'm just enjoying myself. Or any thoughts that come to me, like great thoughts of like, humorous thoughts or something, and I just like smiling. Yeah, it's like completely different energy. It's like being in your own universe.
Absolutely. And think about the times you've looked over next to you and seen somebody dancing in the front seat or singing at the top of their lungs. Doesn't it bring you joy? Of course it
Absolutely.
does. You don't look at them and judge them. You look at them and say, ah, I'd love to be that happy, that energetic, that fun, that carefree. We are modeling possibilities or at least exhibiting joy, which may have a beautiful effect on somebody that we don't even know is watching.
So true. We could be the inspiration for somebody.
Right. Absolutely. And when we live like that, I make every effort to live like that out in the world. And there are people who will say, uh, she's got so much energy, or she's always so positive, or I can't stand how happy, she is. People have said that about me. First of all, I don't care. And secondly, no, we don't know what we don't know about people. You know, Irina, I mean, if we had a conversation about all of what has happened in our lives, we would just be sitting here with our tissue boxes, wouldn't we? I mean,
So true.
so are we going to focus on all of the tragedy, the loss, the devastation, the struggle? We could, but I don't want to be around that kind of a person. I want to be around people who are joyful and who feel their feelings, but who can see that everything is temporary. And what I think about miracles is they're just happening like this all over, and like fireflies. And we can choose to damn the darkness and be upset about how awful it is, or we can notice the lights. Like Mr. Rogers said, we can see the devastation or we can focus on the helpers. What are you noticing?
So beautiful. It again comes to the point, what you focus on is going to expand in your life. So true.
Yes.
So, Regina, share something from your life that you consider miraculous. Like we were like already saying that every day is miracle, just the point that we wake up and breathe and experience this life. But give also the audience something like that really happened, like the event or something that
Hmm.
you consider miraculous.
Hmm. I well, there's so many different. I think about I think about how closely the good, the bad, the joyful, the sorrow, how that's a tightrope. And when in my life I have moved many times, and one of the things that always made me so sad is that I was far away from my family. So I moved from Ohio to North Carolina and was away from my family. That's a long trip, you know. And then we moved to Wisconsin, and that was far away. My family was in the Midwest. And when we were called to Michigan, or where I currently live, we were devastated. We didn't want to move to Michigan. We we liked where we were and what we were doing. And in the time that we were in Michigan, I was the closest geographically that I ever was to my mother and father. And I had a new baby, and the I remember the weekend that I went home and brought all of the cameras to take pictures of my mother and father with the children. And I spent I got to spend all this time with my mother and father. And that weekend that I was home, my father died of a massive heart attack. And I think, had we not had the miracle, and the miracle is it was a it was a it was a random decision. My husband got chosen, he got picked to do his professional training in Michigan for 1 year. And had we not had that miracle happen of him being chosen to do that for a year, I wouldn't have had that time with my father before he passed. And it was a miracle because for all other, everything else being equal, we would have stayed where we were, far away, and he would never have seen his granddaughter, you know? So little, and I often think that the miracles go with the bittersweet tragedies too in life, you know? Just the timing, miracles of timing in my life have been so poignant.
Yeah, thank you so much for that share. It's
Mhm.
it's so true. Like, and we think, like you say, if your husband didn't choose, but like I always say, there are no coincidences in this life. Like everything is already predetermined. The universe is so precise. It's the same like law of mathematics are very precise.
Mm.
And the same way the laws of universe, they're constantly working at it's just for us to tap into that realization, understanding that we are all connected and there is that force that connects us and guide us on this beautiful journey, and it meant to happen, right? It meant to be. And
Right.
sometimes when things happen in life, we consider them the miracles, but they're actually a part of the plan, of the grand
Yeah.
plan of the universe.
Right. I believe the universe has our back. I believe that we are here to live beautiful lives and not lives of struggle. Let's get out of the struggle. And I think that the message from that example is this: whatever challenge you're facing, people who are watching or listening to this, whatever challenge you're facing, I encourage you to open up, physically open up like this. There's a whole shift in our energy when we open and embrace what's happening and say, I'm ready. I'm ready to accept the blessings, the gifts, the miracles, the people who are coming to me now to help me through this time. Because normally, when we are challenged, we are curled up, we are protecting ourselves and our loved ones. We want to keep life out when we are hurting or scared. And I'm saying the miracles will come when you embrace what is and say, I am open.
That's so beautiful, and it's a beautiful comment, like to kind of wrap up our show. And the way I always say, we are so trained to be independent, but the thing is, we are always thriving in connection in communities. So be open to ask for the help when you need it, right? So be
Hmm.
open and not try to handle everything on your own. Because let me tell you, when you open, like you mentioned, when you open yourself up, you're creating all these possibilities that you otherwise would never be able to
Yes,
see for yourself.
right. And if you are not in struggle right now, reach out to somebody who you know is and say, how can I help you today? How can I help? Not what can I do or just let me know if you need anything. No, you tell them, how can I help today? I'm here to help. So if you don't tell me, I'm either going to bring you a meal, I'm going to send you some money, or I'm going to show up and take your kids for the afternoon. Don't give them an option. Open that door and let them fall in and say, here's how you can help me.
That's so beautiful. And what I advise the audience, everybody who listens to right now, just ask the question, what is your miracle? What is my
Mm.
miracle? Because like I said, we are living in the miracle, and let's just recognize it, let's just embrace. And the more we are going to be searching for the miracles, the more we are going to have them in our life.
That's right. Yes. And they're wonderful, aren't they? You deserve to have miracles happen.
Absolutely. Thank you
Mhm.
so much, Regina. It was such a pleasure to have you at this episode. And for everybody, we would love to hear your comments. Connect with Regina, connect with me if you seek some guidance, some support. And
Mhm.
let's just not be alone on this beautiful journey of life. And let's create more miracles in our life. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
watching. And Regina, thanks so much for being